Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Galu, and yeah, this video is gonna be me crashing out on the game. There's a lot of frustrations that I have. Not only did they kind of delay dropping the trailer, but I think I already know what's coming. We just gotta expect it already. But there's another duelist coming this season, so I'm just gonna kind of rant off my frustrations with this game, and yeah, let's get into the video. Alright, now I'm going to talk about some of the issues I personally have with Marvel Rivals. There are quite a lot, and I had to kind of record this multiple times because I kept leaving stuff out. But one of the main issues is just the hero release schedule. I just don't get how you possibly mess that up. Like, how do you get into your brain that not adding tank and support characters wouldn't piss off those player bases? There are people who only like playing tank and only like playing support, and those people get shafted because DPS is the most popular. I don't get it. Like, if you don't want a game that everyone is locking quadruple DPS every season, maybe you don't keep adding DPS to the game. And out of like every single hero shooter or like, you know, individual IPs out there, it can be hard to get people to play tank and support. But in an IP like Marvel, when you can add like Ghost Rider, Thanos, Juggernaut, Colossus to tank, those are fan favorite Marvel characters that people would love to see in that role. For support, let's hypothetically say they add Gambit to the role. Let's say they add some really popular IP characters into the support role. Don't you think people would want to play that too? Like Professor X or something. There are so many like popular Marvel characters that would fit, and you can kind of flex them into a certain role that would bring people to want to play. Like if Gambit was a support, there are a lot of Gambit fans that are traditionally DPS players. Don't you think they would want to play Gambit regardless of what role he's in? And if he happens to be a support, that's another person that goes and has a support they want to flex to. And you kind of just we don't have that pull right now for support. Like the only popular character I would say in the support role is maybe Ultron and Loki. And both of those characters are, well, Loki's kind of gutted right now. And then Ultron's pretty much triple support only. So like you're not going to be able to play them anyways. And it really is a bummer because there's just so many popular DPS characters in the game right now. You have Iron Man, Spider-Man, you have Blade. Bro, I don't even know who else is in the DPS role. There's so many characters. Daredevil. Like, the reason why DPS is so popular is because every single popular superhero is in the DPS role. And tank, in my opinion, is a little bit easier to plan out and be like, oh, that's definitely a tank. They're a big body character, make them a tank. To me, I think support is harder for people to imagine a character playing like, because they're like, oh, well, this character doesn't heal, so they shouldn't be a support. Or like for whatever reason they want to make up in their mind. But like if you look at the support roster right now, seriously, most of them don't actually heal in lore at all. Mantis does not heal in lore. Sue does not heal in lore. Ultron, Loki do not heal in lore. Rocket most definitely does not heal in lore. So it's like they can kind of fit into the support role, but like traditionally they don't heal either. And there are so many DPS in this game that do canonically heal or act as a more supporting like character. Storm is already basically a support. You change one tiny thing and make her have an AoE healing in her circle thing, bang, she's a support character. She already provides a lot of utility via damage boost and as far as speed boost goes. So it's like, just go the extra mile, change her roll up, and then you have a whole other support. You didn't have to put that much effort into redesigning. Nyx, that's another character that was a pretty obvious support character, but yet they made her a pretty much copy and paste of Hela. And let's go then the mile further. To be honest with you, I kind of agree with some people that Iron Fist shouldn't be a support, but he already has he has AoE healing capabilities right now via the team up, and canonically I don't think Lin Lee actually heals, but like every other Iron Fist does. And so if they're never gonna add another Iron Fist, I would feel like a lot of people would enjoy Iron Fist being a support, because then at least you have some viability instead of being kind of like a mid-tier DPS every single time. You always keep getting one damage reduction nerf, or like not damage reduction, but like one damage nerf every single patch. I feel like people would rather just him be a support character at this point, because then at least he has some team utility that you can pick him for. And it's stuff like that. And like even Scarlet Witch could have easily been a pretty decent support character instead of being a bottom of the barrel DPS every single season. And like Iron Fist and Witch are those like some of those characters that you just can't buff because they're mechanically not difficult to play. But like if you buff them to a point where they're just brain dead easy, and you buff them their numbers to be just insane, then like you get a real problem, because then DPS will just be like insanely brain dead. It already kind of is, but like it'll be even more brain dead, where like people who don't even have to aim can just get to top 500 or whatever. So I feel like for those lower tier DPS that just shouldn't, like, they shouldn't be meta, but they're always kind of going to be at the bottom, I feel like you could rework those characters to be a support, and at least then they would see use, because every single support is useful. Like, there isn't really one support that's just absolutely garbage, aside from maybe Ultron as a second support and Loki. So yeah, I guess that's the only one. But like in general, I feel like it's really not that hard to create fun and popular characters for support or tank, and just it would entice people to play it. And Marvel as an IP, you have, like, Marvel Rivals, you guys have the power to convert DPS players into tank and support players, or you have the power to convert DPS players into tank and support players, just simply because you have a strong IP. Imagine, okay, this is never going to happen, but imagine if Deadpool was a tank or a support. That would bring a lot of people to want to play that character in tank or support. Obviously, it doesn't have to be Deadpool, but like it could be any other popular character into those other roles that aren't DPS, and you'll have people wanting to play. You don't even have to make them popular characters. You could just make them really, really attractive, and people would want to play it. I guarantee you, most people didn't want to play tank, but then when Emma Frost came out, you just had a whole bunch of new Emma Frost players. So Marvel, this is the power you have over something like Overwatch, for example, where Overwatch, it is kind of hard to get people to try and play tank when you have you're a new IP, basically. But like with a home IP kind of like Marvel, you have so many different characters that you add to tank or support, and that would just bring in a bunch of new people to want to play that character just simply because they look cool. So that is like a kind of a power that you guys have over a lot of these other games that rely on their own IP, their own power to bring out the power of their kit. With this game, you don't even have to do that, really. You just add in a really popular character. I don't even think, like, a lot of people just want to play Thanos because like it's Thanos, and bang, you got a whole bunch of new tank mains just simply because you added Thanos or Ghost Rider to the game. It's just, you guys, if you guys lock in and you guys look seriously at your plan for releasing characters, if you just add in a bunch of popular characters into tank and support, you can really balance out the game that way. So I hope you guys do that in the future. That's kind of like one of my main problems with Marvel Rivals right now. Another really big problem I have with Marvel Rivals is the fact, or the simple fact, that ranks reset too often. And I think that also results in a lot of burnout. I, for one, am getting burnt out because I just don't see the point of grinding competitive anymore. Not only is that the competitive space kind of a joke because of the toxic community that just keeps throwing no matter what happens, but it's just when ranks reset too often, you don't want to like climb anymore. Like if you have a day job, and let's say you're not like a content creator, and let's say you just play the game for fun, and you get off work, you go play for a couple hours, and you log off, or you don't even play for a couple hours, you play maybe twice a week, and then by the time you get back to the rank that you were reset to, or like reset from, it resets again. And I can see that being very, very tiresome for like a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people in my comment section alone just being like, yeah, I've only been playing quick play because comp doesn't feel very worth it, because like, what's the point of grinding if my rank is going to reset again? So I really do hope that in the future they kind of just chill on the resets. If you're gonna reset, like if the seasons are gonna happen every 2 months, I think you can chill down on the rank resets quite a bit, and I think people would still want to play. Like if you say you finish a season in Celestial 2, then the season after you can just keep playing. Maybe they do like a soft reset to make people like derank maybe 3 divisions instead of like 7. That would at least give people still incentive to go get back the rank they were, but like 7 is a lot, bro. That's like 2 whole ranks and a half, basically. And it's a lot, okay? So I really do hope they tone back on the rank resets. That part of the game, I think, is just, if once they move to this format, I feel like it's a change they need to just do. to just reduce the amount of burnout that we have. Another issue I have with Marvel Rivals is the fact that like their ban system. So if you guys have never played Overwatch, I think Overwatch really innovated on Rivals ban system, and essentially how it works is you have the same hover phase, but then as soon as the hover phase is over, you pretty much just vote your top 3 most wanted banned characters, and then when the ban phase ends, every single ban is unique, and depending on whoever the other team bans, you'll always get 4 unique bans every single time. And I think that is something that this game just desperately needs. There are so many oppressive characters in the roster of Marvel Rivals, and that are just annoying to play against, and just guaranteeing that you get unique bans every single time would make the ranked experience so much better, especially for tanks and supports, gonna be real. And I also do think you can add in an extra ban. You have like so many characters already. I think adding in an extra ban would be pretty useful for both teams, so you can have a max of 6 bans. With your current roster size and this pace you're like releasing characters, I feel like that's only natural that you guys add in another ban. So adding a unique ban and a multiple bans would be very, very nice for the competitive space. Another personal problem I have with this game is the logic of hero fantasy. And this is going to apply mainly to supports, in my opinion, because I play a lot of support, or have to flex to support most of the time. So I'm going to talk about my issues with the hero fantasy problem, and why I feel like this game is just so biased towards making DPS fun that they just forget, they toss support off to the wayside when it comes to stuff like this. And I just got to rant on a little bit about it, because it's very infuriating to me how they just mistreat the support role. Like, I don't care that the role is strong, okay? I get the role is broken. I'm not talking about how broken it is. I'm talking about how fun it is to play. And like, with the latest edition of Daredevil, that character is the embodiment of everything that pisses me off about Marvel Rivals, because they gave a character that traditionally does not have the power to like wall climb and just like AoE blind people, like that type of stuff. It's like you added so many cool things to this guy's kit, because of apparently he's possessed by Dijon or whatever his name is, and it's like that's the justification for why he has all these extra powers. And he's like, I'm like, what? How? And like, where's the hero fantasy in playing Angela when you get like CC'd 4 times by a guy with a metal arm and then you just die? Like, there's no hero fantasy in there. And then you go to a support and you have a character like Adam Warlock that can canonically fly, by the way, and you just can't fly. Actually, you know what pisses me off? You do fly, but you only are able to fly in your res like state after you die. It's like, what is that logic, bro? And like Mantis, as someone who plays primarily Mantis if I have to play support, is that this character in every single depiction of her in the comics or in the films, she's a melee martial artist fighter. And like the way she sleeps people, she hops on people's backs or something and like touches their head with her antennas, and then that's how she sees people. Where is that in her hero fantasy at all? If we go to Ultron, Ultron's whole entire thing is being like a person that can transfer his consciousness to multiple different bodies. Where is that playstyle? Where is it, bro? I don't get it. And it baffles me that every single time that Marvel Rivals drops a DPS character, they all of a sudden have this cool, really advanced kit with multiple different buttons. And then you add a character like Ultron in. It's like this character has 3 buttons and most of them are auto-activating. They pretty much use themselves. It's so bad, bro. Like, I will give you guys credit where credit is due. Sue, a really well-made support. Do more of that. Like, have ways to like use her kit in multiple different ways. But if you add a character like Ultron, it just doesn't fulfill that hero fantasy at all. I would even say that Sue doesn't really fulfill her hero fantasy at all either, because her whole thing is applying force fields to people and like shielding people. But like, her shield is kind of like there as an afterthought most of the times. You put it up there for a little bit of extra healing, it gets broken instantly. And then like the rest of the time you're spamming left click on your team. I feel like, in my personal opinion, if I were to envision Invisible Woman to play, I would think she would play kind of like a Zarya, where you place a temporary bubble or something over a person and they get like overshielding or something when it breaks. Something like that is how I would have envisioned like Susan Storm playing in a game like this. And I think the devs are too locked in to this whole MMO like health bar management system that supports should have. and that just isn't the fun thing. I think most of the more popular supports in MMOs and stuff, for example, are the off supports where you're like doing damage to heal, or you're just spamming a bunch of offensive buffs. Those are the popular supports. In fact, in my opinion, I feel like the minority are the people who like to just heal bot and health bar manage. I think most people who like playing support like the ability to just give buffs to your team, to hear the assist bar go off, or like see how many assists you get at the end of the fight. That's, I think, what brings a lot of satisfaction for people who play support. At least that's what audience, that's the portion of audience I fall into. I enjoy buffing up my teammates to be able to get them to be able to do more damage and get kills, as well as contribute to kills myself. But for whatever reason, Rivals decides to not do that, and I feel like they really did fail the hero fantasy aspect of a lot of the support and tank heroes, to just give them all to DPS. And it's just quite infuriating, and I hope they really do change that in the future with all their future supports and tanks that they drop. I know they said they're working on really fun tank and supports. I really hope they deliver with that, because right now it is really dry. And I also hope that Rogue is fun, and hopefully a melee character that isn't another poke character like every single support we have right now. I just want a different gameplay loop, and that's the bottom line. I just want them to actually fulfill hero fantasy when it comes to support and tank, instead of just kind of making them like their designs for most of the characters in tank and support are kind of lazy in my opinion. Now, I've already addressed this kind of in some of my previous videos, but like I'm going to talk about the playing experience for tank and support in this game. Playing tank and support in this game is just not fun. Like having to flex around people who are DPS players are probably the most entitled role in this game. It is wild. They feel like every single person on the team has to flex around them, or it's everyone else's fault but their own. It's really, really frustrating. And the sheer amount of CC in this game makes it very, very painful and annoying to play tank. There was a reason why Overwatch, when they shifted to Overwatch 2, did a whole massive overhaul of the game to remove a lot of the CC from the game, because there's just so much of it in the game that it ruined the tank experience, and people were wanting to play tank less because of that. They added a whole role passive to tank to make CC not affect them as much because of how oppressive that is. And when you have DPS in this game that can lock you down, CC you to hell, and then burst damage you by themselves, it just doesn't feel very fun. Like if I go dive a Bucky on Angela, that Bucky is winning 9 times out of 10. Like you add any semblance of healing to that, Angela has zero chance. Angela has zero chance to kill that Bucky, because that Bucky, one, has 4 CCs in his kit. Even if you miss an ability, it reloads your ammo and gives you a bunch of overshielding. And I could name so many more DPS that are just as loaded as Bucky, that you just win against tanks for simply existing. Or that part of the game is just very obnoxious. And as someone who does have to flex tank a lot of times, if I'm not flexing to support, it's a very miserable experience. If Bucky is open, or like Mr. Fantastic, or they insert any other DPS character that has any form of CC as well as burst damage, it's not a fun experience to tank. And then on top of that, you have to solo tank most of the times, and most of the tanks aren't designed to solo tank, and so the tanking experience in this game is very, very miserable. Especially the tanking experience in Marvel Rivals is just not fun. If you have to solo tank, you're getting all of the brunt of every single CC is on you. And if you're not playing Magneto or like Doctor Strange, and like you just kind of get farmed. It can maybe solo tank on Emma, but like if you play any other tank, it is so rough trying to solo tank into a lot of things, because the damage is so incredibly high. If both of your supports are not on their A game, just pumping heals into you 24/7, you can't make plays on tank. And it's not really the support's problem either, because supports, there's a reason why a lot of the supports are built to just heal bot, is because you have so much damage in this game that just makes it impossible for you to make plays on tank without double heal bots. And that is a problem that I feel like needs to get fixed as well. For the support experience, like it's not fun for support if someone's diving you, but they're so tanky. It doesn't matter if you hit every single headshot in the world, they will simply just kill you because they have so much more HP. Like, please explain to me why Daredevil has the ability to just get 450 base HP, or like 450 HP with sustain, and he has perma uptime on you. As long as he hits his melee attacks, he's just on you 24/7, and you physically cannot get him off you unless you have your other support with you bodyguarding you. But if that's happening, then your whole entire team's not getting healed. So it's like the playing experience for support is not only terrible because, well, I'm not going to complain that dive is really oppressive, but dive is, to me, really strong because they have so much self-sustain in their kit. To me, the perfect dive character is probably Spider-Man, or like maybe Psylocke. Granted, Psylocke is a little busted right now, so I'm not going to touch on that. I think they should have not buffed her ultimate. But in general, if you're going to design a dive character, they should be like Spider-Man. You should be squishy, and in sacrificing your insane burst damage, you have mobility. That's the whole reason why flank in Paladins, you had a lot of mobility skills, but your overall damage was way less than the actual like assault damage characters. And that is like how I feel like dive characters should be designed. You can't design a hyper mobile, super lethal character that also has self-sustain and tankiness and expect that to be okay. Unless if every single support in this game just did insane damage, sure, you can add that. But like most of the times they don't. They do decent damage, but against a character that has 450 HP that does half their health bar in like one attack, that's not balanced, bro. And then if you're gonna say, or like, let's say you're getting doped by Black Panther, the way you counter Black Panther is already being aware that he is gonna be on you, and a lot of that is taking focus away from you sustaining your team. So if this Black Panther is smart, he will just not show himself for a long time until your tanks are low and they're needing healings. And so you're focused on that, and then while you're focused on that, you get dove, and then what do? Do you take your focus off of the tank that's gonna die, or your DPS that's gonna die, or you try to keep yourself alive? That's the problem, bro. You have a lot of dive DPS that just insta kill a support if they're not just on their A game the whole entire time. And so that to me is just a big problem I have with Marvel Rivals, and I hope that they address it sometime. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the like toxic people in this community. I think that this game has a bunch of like actual man children on this game. The toxicity in this game is just unmatched to me. I feel like there's no other game that comes close, maybe League of Legends, but I feel like this game is worse just simply because you have voice chat. And I would really love if like the Rivals devs were to crack down heavy on throwers and stuff and toxic people. I think if you are a thrower, if you toss games and stuff regularly and you can visibly show that you are just not trying anymore, you should just get your account permabanned off a comp. I'm sorry. You can maybe plead after 5 to 6 months, but like I feel like if you are going to throw games and be a toxic piece of shit online, you should just not have the ability to queue competitive. You can go ahead and throw quick play matches, no one cares. But if you're gonna hop into competitive, you have to be prepared to like, you're gonna lose games. That just is gonna happen. You're gonna get gapped. But like, if you're gonna openly throw games and shit talk and like be a toxic piece of shit, I feel like you just shouldn't be able to play comp. I just don't believe that. Now enough with that. I'm gonna talk about balancing, and I've already yapped on a bunch about balancing in some of my previous videos, but like genuinely, DPS just, y'all gotta get nerfed hard. I'm sorry, bro. DPS all getting, y'all are the reason why a lot of the problems we are in this game right now. Triple support is only a problem because DPS is oppressive as fuck. Gonna be so real with you. The sheer amount of damage makes it so that you can't run double off support. You have to run double main healer and double sustain ults, because a lot of the DPS ults gonna be real too. They're just really easy to use. They're really easy to use. They get free value, and they're like, oh, well, the support ults counter my ult. Yes, if they didn't, your team would wipe every single time a DPS popped an ult, bro. So I feel like in order for this game to be truly balanced and go back, or not go back, but like go to a place where everyone can be happy and like enjoy playing the game, you gotta like tune down a lot of the damage on the DPS roster, tune down the ult durations of DPS, turn down the ult damage of DPS and frequency. And once you do that, once you nerf all of the DPS to make them have fall off damage, their damage is like slower time to kill. Then you can go into support and nerf the durations of support ults, nerf the mid-fight healing, and buff up their other utility instead, and like maybe lower the HP on tanks so that there's less stall. That stuff can all happen once DPS gets nerfed, and they all have to happen at the same exact time. You can't nerf one thing without the other. They are all linked together. I really do hope they make some big changes for season 5, because right now the game is so stale, it is ridiculous. I want them to change things up, and I want the game to be competitively balanced. I think it's very tiring having ults just pop off non-fucking stop. It's very cringe, and I hope these make the proper changes that they need to. Anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. I just wanted to ramble on about some of the things that I am tired of in this game, bro. I wanted to change so bad. This game has so much potential, but they are actually killing it really fast, and I really hope they make the changes needed to make the game play a lot better. I think this game would be infinitely better if they were to balance competitively and make ults not last an eternity. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section. What are you guys' hopes for season 5? I hope they balance a lot of things. I hope they delete Bucky from the fucking game, and yeah, let's hope that the new duelist that's coming next season isn't another Phoenix, or oppressive as oppressive as Phoenix was when she launched, because that was absolute ass. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.